And we are on. Welcome back to the Unpopular Playground for our final theme series on responsibility and accountability. And we're just going to wrap it up before we go into our next month's theme for October on personal safety. I'm Jen Lynn. This is Debbie. Say hi, Debbie. Hi, Debbie. And we're going to wrap it up on what does it look like on responsibility and accountability with, in our work, home, society, and with ourselves. And we touched on all of these things with the independence and the blame game. What are your final thoughts on these, Debbie, and what we can do to increase having responsibility and have less of the distractions with the blame game, like when these situations come up in work and society and home with other people?
Well, my thing is, I think the first thing we need to do is when a situation happens, just take a step back and realize, okay, what's going on here? How can I resolve this situation without making any enemies? Was I a big part of the problem? And if so, what did I do that I can possibly apologize for and try and, make better? Do I have to acknowledge that I made a mistake and fess up to it? Then, if that's the case, do it because you will gain the respect and the trust of so many more people than if you lie and try and blame somebody else. That goes for work. Don't lie and show up to work late and say, oh, there was traffic when everybody else who lives where you live made it to work 10, 15 minutes early. And as far as, like the blame game, realize nobody's to blame for your missteps except you. The best way to approach any kind of confrontation is to just nicely sit down or stand and say to the person, when this happened, it made me feel this way. Now, I don't know if that was what you were aiming for, but that's just how I felt. It gives that person a chance to say, oh, wow, that's not what I was intending at all. So, there, in turn, it takes something that could be a total argument or possibly a loss of a friendship or relationship. And now it makes it a conversation that, oh, I didn't even realize that what I said would even be taken that way. So don't be so quick to blame people. Give people the benefit of the doubt, but always confront to the point of letting them know this is how it made me feel. But don't point that finger and say, when you did this, I was blah, blah, blah. No, no. What you heard wasn't exactly what I was saying. And I know this for a fact because being from New York, a lot of times I've been told that with my accent and everything else, things that I say, I come off sounding like I'm very harsh. And I'm not. I'm not that kind of person at all. And sometimes people, my staff, when they came on, they would get warnings from the other staff that has worked with me. They would say, now, whatever you hear, Miss Debbie is not mean and she is the nicest nurse you will ever work with. And she will never ask you to do anything that she doesn't do herself. And then I'd get the new staff come, and like after the first day of work, they would come up and tell me, I have to tell you something. I'd say, oh, what? Everybody was right. You're not as mean as people say you are. And I was like, what? I go, people say I'm mean. And they're like, yeah, they say, like, you yell or I go, I talk loud. And that's because my husband and my mother were half deaf and they both lived in my house. But the accent sometimes comes off like a little rough, like, New York accents. I don't know, but I never thought of it that way. But see,
Yeah.
now, if they didn't say this, I would never know. And I'd be thinking, oh my God, these people are going to be going to my supervisors and telling them, oh my God, she's mean. She's, this, that, and the other thing. So when I would get new staff, I would sit them down right away and say, okay, listen, this is how it is. I'd explain it to them. And it's like, if you ever, ever have something that you want to talk to me about, just come to me and tell me, when we did this or you did that, I felt like this. And I said, trust me, I probably will start crying and be like, "Oh my god, I never meant to make you feel that way." I'm not a person that's out to hurt people. If I didn't know that, I would have had staff that hated me for absolutely no reason at all.
And you had no idea.
And
Yeah.
and I mean, at the end when I retired, I mean, I was loved by so many people, and I was, I was the one everybody wanted to work with. These are things that, you have to keep in mind. You have to know how to approach people. You have to know how not to put the blame. And even when I had staff that messed up, I would never say anything in front of people, but I'd take them and I'd be like, okay, when you were doing this, I'm going to give you a little hint and talk to them. I never blamed them, but I would ask them, what do you think you could have done that might have made the outcome a little different? I wasn't putting them down. I was giving them a chance to say, well, when I did this, I should have probably done that. You're right. And next time you won't do that again. And these are things like making people be accountable for their actions. It's a way of making people not being so ready to put the blame on other people or say, I didn't do that. Well, you're the only person working with that patient. So I'll be,
Create an atmosphere of openness.
yes. And you have to realize once you're an adult, you take on responsibilities. When you leave the house, you have bills to pay, you have a place that you need to keep clean before you'll be bug infested. You've got to communicate with your uh, utility companies, your car loan, or whatever else. If you're going to be late by a week on your bills, let them know. Keep communication open. That's your responsibility. If they shut you off, that's your fault. This is all accountability and responsibilities. And once you walk out that door of your parents' house and you're on your own, you are responsible for everything you do. And you have to hold yourself accountable. Don't lie, don't cheat, and just be honest. What's your take,
I
Jen?
Well, my take is get an appointment book.
Ah,
This is how I run my life. I have my
great.
calendar and I have another calendar. I keep all of my appointments so that I don't miss my appointments on dates for doctors, with friends. I put everything in here with what I need when my bills are due, what date things are due so that I'm not late. Because guess what? Some places they're okay with you being late because they charge more money if you're late. You get to pay late fees and they're a lot of money.
Yeah. Sure.
A payment doesn't go through, that's fine because they're going to charge you extra money as a result, because you didn't pay that on time, they get
Right.
interest. Jen doesn't want to pay any more money than she has to. I've learned the hard way because sometimes I've had to because my paychecks came in a little later than the other things. Now, a lot of places will give you a grace period because they realize that that's life. So if you don't make that grace period, it's usually 5 to 10 days, even. So, which is very reasonable. And you miss that date, then there's no excuse. So if you take that grace period that people give you and you still don't communicate, you still don't pay that. What I do now, because I've had to, because I'm sick of waiting around. If I make an arrangement with somebody, I'll reach out and say, hey, are we still on? And if I don't hear anybody thing, if they don't communicate, then I'll say, okay, well, I'm going to assume if I don't hear anything by Friday and we were supposed to get together Monday, that things have been canceled. Because then I know that I can move on with my life. I'll make that decision
Right.
because I'm not going to sit around and wait until Monday, Sunday night. I could be doing something else, or I could have another doctor's appointment, or I could do something else because our time is valuable. And when people don't respect that time by communicating, and do you think that I'm going to make an arrangement with that person again? No, I'm not. The people that, like you and other people that I know that do keep their commitments, if I don't hear something from you or my mom or Carl, I know that something has happened
Right.
because that is not like you. That's, you have a reputation. People in my inner circle have a reputation for communicating. People aren't making arrangements with you. People don't want to do business with you anymore. That's all you, baby.
Yep.
That's not their fault, so I know I do my due diligence. If we make an arrangement and people say they're going to be there and they don't show up, I give 15 minutes leeway and then I'm off. I'm not going to wait around all day for somebody. That's kind of where I'm at. I would just recommend having an appointment book to write all your appointments down so that, and list out all of your responsibilities. What do I have to do today? What is the main thing that I need to do today? And then maybe 3 to 5 others, and make sure that those things get done today. So I think those things will help you too, to be able to get those responsibilities done, because if you have your dates, like, okay, well, this is what I need to do this week, usually Sunday, the week before. Sundays, I will like, what do I have to do this week? What's really
Yeah.
important? Where do I have to go? Make my arrangements. And sometimes I get so overwhelmed. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have any Zen time for me. So I'm going to have to cancel. And that's okay too, because I let people know ahead of time or reschedule. Now, and then I think about it. How many times have I had to reschedule with Debbie a lot or this person a lot? And if circumstances does, like, okay, well, I'm not moving them around. I'm keeping that obligation because they're important to me. So I'll rearrange one of my other appointments. So yeah, there's a lot to juggle in life. And it's not easy being a responsible person, but it is worth it.
Yeah. Well, you have to prioritize. That's one of the things we talked about way early on in our podcast, too. You have to put what's the most important things in your life first. And those are the things you focus on. Those priorities are the things that you need to focus on. I have a calendar, and then I know my daughter's always telling me, Mama, put this stuff on your phone. But it's like, I go, Tammy, I have 7,000 I haven't read yet. I go, I just went in the other day and I just cleared them all. I didn't even read them. So I just went, I would hit select, it would say 300 clear. I cleared them all, and God only knows, I hope none of them are really important because they're gone. But
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to my phone. If it was up to me, I wouldn't even have the damn phone. I just like to text and go on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't want to live my life by the damn phone. I'm just that way. I'm retired. I was tied to raising my child, tied to working, tied to my husband, tied to our business. Now I'm like, I don't want to be tied to anything. I have a calendar in my kitchen that has everything on it, what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, where it is. And then that's it. When I get up in the morning, when my coffee's making, I'm looking at the calendar. I'll go to the next month and, oh, yeah, doctor appointment here, eye appointment there. And that's it.
Yeah.
But for the young kids of today,
They like it.
their
There's
phone,
apps everywhere.
they'll put it on their, my daughter lives by her phone and all the things. I mean, she'll go in there and I'm like, God bless you. But
There's a lot of cool apps out there, Debbie, that help you organize that way,
oh,
that help
God,
you do that, but to each their own.
yeah.
And I like what you said about priorities, and we're at our ending time real soon
Yeah.
here. The way to think about priorities, somebody had given me a beautiful illustration of it. Life is like, and I think I mentioned juggling. Things that are important, most important, those balls are glass. You
Mhm.
can't afford for those to drop.
Nope.
Some are rubber, some are glass. You always want to keep those glass balls in the air. You
Yep.
don't want those to drop, because once they drop, they're shattered and some of them cannot be repaired as easily or at all. You're just going to have to live without that. And it's going to be that there's going to be a void if you do that, either in relationships or not having a job or not having a place to live. Those are your glass balls. And then, other things, maybe your personal wants, your selfish wants, those are the rubber balls. But the things that you need to survive, your needs, those are your glass balls. And those are the things inside those glass balls is a list of your responsibilities. If you drop that, that is your accountability. You either get paid, rewarded for being able to juggle all of that, or you drop it and it's gone forever, or it's changed forever in a way that you can't possibly imagine. And that is going to change your life forever. And you're going to have to be living with a handicap forever. That's
Yeah,
all I have to say about that.
your priorities are what help you attain the golden ring that everybody searches for from the time you're little. That's my goal. That's what I want to be, riding on that merry-go-round and trying to reach for that golden ring. That's your priorities. And that's all you strive for.
I think a good example of that, let's say somebody wants to be a hockey player, and
Mhm.
if you make a bad decision about your health and maybe be a daredevil and you smash your knee, there's
So
that glass ball. It's smashed, changed forever. You will never be a hockey player. So
exactly.
every decision that you make now with your priorities is going to be something that you're going to have to live with later for good
Yep.
or for bad. So you're going to need to think about, how do my decisions that I make now affect me later on? Those are the
Yep.
questions you're going to want to start asking yourself.
With the way technology is today, people can go back and search you and see everything you've ever done, said, or whatever mess you've been in, and it can affect your life. So always think about that. That you have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
Another whole area of accountability that can cost you your jobs
You have to be
with how you live
responsible.
your life.
You can't lie about things because it'll catch up in the end and bite you in the butt. And on a happy note,
We will bid you farewell till next month in October, where our theme is personal
next,
safety. And a lot of this will come into play. If you don't have responsibility and accountability, you might as well just live at home
yeah, really,
because you're not going to be able to live on your own at all if you can't have this.
until your parents throw you out or move away one night.
Exactly. All right. Stay curious, everybody. See you next episode.
Hey,
Bye.